Thank you so much, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. It brings me great joy and honor to be able to bring in our newly elected colleague representing Council District 14, Councilwoman-elect Isabel Jurado, to join us today.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Hernandez. I'm so excited to be here. It's very real now, isn't it? So thank you for welcoming me, and I appreciate it. I'm ready to get to work. So see you soon.
Awesome.
Thank you, Council President.
Congratulations. Councilmember Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. Out of abundance of caution, I'm recusing myself from items 12, 44, 47, and 54 because my wife's employer has worked with applicants on these items. 12, 44, 47, and 54. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through multi-faith meetings and community discussions over the past year plus, we've had the chance to hear from leaders and residents across the city of Los Angeles. These conversations reaffirmed that while diversity makes us strong, it's the universal principles that connect us to what it means to be human. The need to live without fear, to have our basic needs met, and to worship freely. This resolution is about celebrating our commitment to both, the richness of our diversity and the shared rights and responsibilities that bring us together. I want to thank Umar and Aziza, the Civil Rights Department, and all the faith and community leaders who contributed to this effort. Your commitment has been a source of inspiration and a reminder of what's possible when we come together, when we choose to look for the common bonds that bring us together rather than what divides us. I'd like to turn it over to Umar Hakim Day to say a few words, and then we're going to have an event up in the Tom Bradley room, so if you want to pop in, there's going to be a presentation and speakers and a panel. It's going to be awesome. So I'll turn it over to Umar.
Check 1, 2. Okay. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, Allah being the proper Arabic word for God. Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to acknowledge Councilwoman Katie. Thank you. Zipper, Alan Zipper, Jamana, Aziza Hassan, Salam Ariati from Muslim Public Affairs Council. This is a really special day. I'd like to also talk about a small parable in Islam that reflects this moment that we're going through right now. So, in the days of Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, there was a stone, a black stone that was so precious that the influential tribes of the city was arguing who's going to carry it in. So they said the next man who comes, or the next person who comes through that gate is going to help us resolve this situation. So it so happens to be Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. So he assessed the situation of all the influential tribes, just like we have many communities here today, and he thought about the objective. And he said, well, all the tribesmen that was there, he said, give me a sheet, and let's put this precious stone on this sheet. And each tribe, each community, grab a piece of this sheet and carry it in. So when you look at this human security resolution today, this is our sheet. Our humanity is the precious stone. And we're all gathered here today to carry this in, to take it to the next level, this multi-faith solidarity unit that you see here. So we basically, you could use this human security based on the 4 freedoms to align in your decision-making with your work. Freedom from want, freedom from fear, freedom of expression, and freedom of worship. These are all the essential divine rights that the Creator has bestowed on every man and woman and child in this city. And this is a win for the Angelenos in this city. Because a lot of times, I work in the streets of South Los Angeles and Compton, and a lot of Angelenos don't feel connected to City Hall. So once you give us a chance to be advocates for this human security, you have given us a chance to be advocates for this human security to be more connected with the city. So this is all of us grabbing a piece of this sheet to carry our humanity to the next level. You are in our hands and we are in your hands. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm gonna pass it back to our councilwoman, and thank you very much.
My name is Anaí Cruz, and I'm here to speak on the sanctuary ordinance. I'm not sure what item number it is.
So that would be item 52. So you have
Got
1
it.
minute for item 52. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Anaí Cruz, and I am a constituent of CD11 and also a coalition coordinator for the Garment Workers Center. No city resources, property, or personnel should be used for immigration enforcement. Our membership in particular, they want to see a sanctuary city because they know that factory owners have and will continue to use the threats of calling ICE as a way to intimidate workers who come forward about workplace protections. Because the president-elect has promised mass deportations, and immigrant communities know all too well the dehumanizing impacts of raids. I'm going to go off script a little bit here, but as a daughter of undocumented immigrants, the fear of deportation is always looming over my head and over my family's head. Every day, that fear continues, especially under this Trump administration that's coming towards us. And I really hope that I can be a part of a community that is leading to protections for undocumented immigrants and immigrants overall. Pass the sanctuary ordinance now, make LA a safe community for all, and protect our immigrant community. Thank you.
Mi nombre es María González y soy residente del Condado de Los Ángeles. Yo vengo aquí a apoyar la ordenanza de la ciudad santuario de Los Ángeles. ¿Por qué?
Hello,
Porque...
un segundo, señora.
Okay. Sorry.
Hi, yes, my name is Maria Gonzalez. I am a resident of the County of Los Angeles, and I'm here to speak in favor of the sanctuary ordinance.
Okay. ¿Por qué estoy apoyando la ordenanza? Porque yo quiero que mi familia ande sin miedo en sus trabajos y las madres anden sin miedo en las escuelas y en los hospitales.
Why? Because I would want my family to be able to not work in fear, and as well as for mothers to be in hospitals as well without fear.
Por eso estoy apoyando la ordenanza de Ciudad Santuario de Los Ángeles y espero que ustedes la apoyen también. Gracias.
And that is why I am supporting the sanctuary ordinance here in Los Angeles, and I would hope that you guys support it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, my name is Carla Aguayo. I'm here representing CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. CHIRLA is a statewide immigrant rights organization led by immigrants, for immigrants, with our headquarters right here in the city of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is an immigrant region, 4.3 million people living in the metro area, with 800,000 individuals living in this region who are undocumented. More than 80% of the region's families have at least one immigrant living in their household. $10 billion were paid by immigrants in the Los Angeles region in local and state taxes. Immigrant Angelenos are facing their gravest attacks from the upcoming administration with the clear threat of mass arrests and deportations from President-elect Trump. The city cannot be seen as being in support of family separations, of mass arrests, of mass deportations of their citizens of Los Angeles. Am I allowed to keep going?
So you can use 1 minute for general public comment if you'd like. So go ahead.
Okay.
But just before we start our time, so if you would like general public comment in addition to any other items, please let us know when we ask you which items you'd like to speak to. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. The city must ensure its resources, property, and personnel are not being utilized for federal immigration enforcement by passing a sanctuary ordinance. The city of Los Angeles must no longer contribute to the separation of thousands of Angelino families. The city of Los Angeles must stand for united families, united immigrant families. Thank you.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Arely Hernandez. I'm the Director of Executive Affairs for CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. Public comment for item 52.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council, for listening to us today. Today, we come before you united. As you see with us, we are a united group here today, multicultural, diverse, standing for one thing, and that's for this city ordinance to pass. Our city resources should be spent on services and the people here in LA and not on separating families and Angelinos. This city has to spend on affordable housing, on ensuring that individuals facing homelessness have shelter, and not on becoming Trump's deportation force. That is not where resources should go. Our city resources need to go to schools, to clinics, to parks, and not to terrorizing our vibrant and contributing immigrant community. LA is a community that has welcomed people for decades, for centuries, and now is not the time to stop being that place where people feel safe. Despite LA being home to 1.3 million immigrants and over 34% of that's 34% of the population, it still does not have a sanctuary policy in the books, and that should end today.
Before the Thank you. Welcome, welcome everyone. Good morning. My name is Nancy Mesa. Today I'm here representing the National Day Labor Organizing Network in support of this sanctuary policy, but also as an immigrant Angelino here in LA. To be honest, it's really embarrassing that a policy like this doesn't currently exist in the books. And I think it's important that the council take this opportunity to mend the mistakes of the past and really protect immigrants today. Everyone here in this room has been fighting for decades to improve the lives of immigrant workers, of students, right, of immigrants in their housing, and we're not gonna give up, right? We're not gonna give up fighting for our neighbors, fighting for ourselves, and fighting for those that we love, right? So the city needs to also show up with us, right, and join us in this fight, because this fight is gonna get real. We've been through this before, right? We've been through a Trump presidency before, and like I said before, you'll have the opportunity today, right, to rescind the mistakes of the past and pass this ordinance now. It's an embarrassment that the city of Los Angeles doesn't have this on the books today, but I believe that you can make it happen today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo! My name is Yvonne Wheeler, and I'm the president of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, and I'm speaking on item 52, public comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute for the item and 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Thank you. So on behalf of the Los Angeles labor movement, I'm here urging all to pass the ordinance declaring Los Angeles a sanctuary city. Los Angeles is made great by its union members, many of whom are proud immigrants. It is our duty to protect our immigrant community and fight against the hate, indignity, and harm from this next administration. We cannot allow ICE or anyone else to target our immigrant communities and workers at our schools, places of worship, hospitals, or any other place in Los Angeles. I often say, no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, and no matter who you love, there is a place for you in the labor movement. And the labor movement will fight to protect our immigrant communities and keep their families safe. We call on Los Angeles City Council to stand with the Los Angeles labor movement in this fight for immigrant justice and to declare Los Angeles a sanctuary city. Thank you.
Good morning. If you could please remind us of the name you signed up under and the items you'd like to speak to.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Mónica de los Santos y vengo en representación de SCOP y soy abuela, madre y líder.
Hello, yes, my name is Maria de los Santos, representing Scott. I am a grandmother, a mother, and a leader.
Y vengo en representación de la organización de SCOP porque estamos apoyando que firmen la ordenanza, porque necesitamos que nuestras familias, como son hijos y nietos, se encuentren unidos y todos no tengan miedo. Pueda uno
Un
seguir.
segundo, señora, perdón. Yes, I am representing Scott, and I'm asking you guys to support this ordinance so that the families, the sons and grandkids can be united with you guys and be protected.
Necesitamos seguir trabajando tranquilos porque hasta ahora para eso venimos y hacemos de nuestra lucha, ¿verdad? Que ustedes pedimos y exigimos que firmen ya. Ya es hora de que pase esta ordenanza. Gracias.
And we also need to be able to do our jobs and work in peace and without fear. We ask you guys to support that so that we can continue our good fight, and we ask for you guys' support. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gina Amato. I'm the Directing Attorney at Public Counsel Immigrants' Rights Project. Our mission at Public Counsel is to advance civil rights, racial and economic justice, and to amplify the power of our clients, including immigrant communities across Los Angeles. We are mobilizing to take action against unlawful policies that target immigrant communities and undermine our democracy. We successfully defended the immigrant community under the former Trump administration, and we stand ready to do it all again. We are ready to help lead the fight against unjust policies in the new Trump administration, uphold the rule of law, and stand with our communities in this pivotal moment of history. And we are here today to demand that you do the same, that you stand with us, with our partners, and the communities that we serve, and stand against this administration and protect the residents of this city. Immigrant families are under attack and face the imminent threat of harm and separation. The city of Los Angeles
General public comment?
must stand up, lead, and protect its people. As we prepare for the real possibility of mass detention and deportation, it is imperative that the city commit to using none of its resources to collude with ICE and enforce federal immigration law. By passing the sanctuary ordinance, the city of LA can ensure that its resources, property, and personnel are not being used to detain and deport immigrants or rip apart immigrant and mixed status families. Public Counsel is committed to ending the inhumane and unjust treatment of immigrants, as well as the practices that have ruptured families and communities throughout LA. And disentangling city resources from federal immigration enforcement is a key step toward this goal. We call on the city of Los Angeles to stand with us today and pass the sanctuary ordinance now. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Michelle Carey. I'm with the Survivor Justice Center, formerly known as the Los Angeles Center for Law and Justice, a nonprofit in East LA that provides free legal representation to survivors of intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking. No city resources, property, or personnel should be used for immigration enforcement. Immigrants in LA, including survivors, continue to face attacks from federal immigration system, especially under the increased threat of mass arrests and deportations. The city can ensure its resources, property, and personnel are not being used for any sort of federal immigration enforcement by passing the ordinance today. The city of LA must no longer contribute in any way to the separation of families and the increased fear in the immigrant community. LA must be a city where people can feel safe, not only from immigration enforcement, but also when applying for critical city services. This is particularly important for survivors, as those who abuse and exploit often use the fear of ICE as a tactic for power and control, and further isolate survivors by preventing them or creating fear so that they do not access much needed services. The unjust and racist immigration detention and deportation system should not be supported by any local resources. We need these resources to create safety and support immigrant families, not tear them apart. The ordinance would finally make LA a true sanctuary city, just as LA County did in September of 2020. I call on the City Council to protect immigrant survivors and the entire immigrant community and pass the sanctuary ordinance immediately. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Bautista. I'm with the Thai Community Development Center, or Thai CDC, serving the community in East Hollywood, Thai Town. As a nonprofit organization that caters towards the needs of Thais and other immigrants that share Thai Town as their home, I want to express that none of our city's resources should be used for immigration detention and deportation. It is unjust and racist. Instead, our resources should be used to support our immigrant communities. We're a city of 4.4 million immigrants, or 33% of the population. Immigrant Angelenos contribute to the labor, economy, culture, and overall vibrancy of our city. Immigrant Angelenos deserve to feel and be safe when applying for city services, not worry that their private information can be gathered and shared with immigration authorities. Through the sanctuary ordinance, it would establish Los Angeles as a true sanctuary city, and importantly, it will keep Angeleno families together. So I urge City Council to please protect our communities from ICE, and please pass the LA sanctuary ordinance immediately. Thank you so much.
Yolanda Alanis from the Freedom Socialist Party and National Radical Women. Immigrant workers built the wealth of this country. Without immigrant labor, our economy would go into the toilet. Now is the time to have the cojones to help lead a united front against the right-wing attacks on the most vulnerable in our society. We are in a historical moment to stop fascist aggression. Pass this ordinance now. We deserve to have an ordinance like this. We have to protect the ones who need it most. I am a Chicana, 7 generations in this country, but I am still vulnerable because I am brown. And those of us who are people of color, they're not going to ask us if we're immigrants. They're going to arrest us because there's a profile going on, which is illegal. So please pass this ordinance now. Thank you.
General.
I'm very pleased to see you finally taking up this sanctuary issue today and actually putting some teeth into it. Back in 2018, a bunch of us were down here calling on Los Angeles to become a full-fledged sanctuary city and to also provide permanent supportive public housing for our unhoused community members and neighbors. Neither of those have come to pass until today. You can at least start with the enforcement to protect immigrants, which is long overdue. But on the flip side of that, you need to take the resources, the personnel, and the property of the city and start using it to provide for the housing, provide for the services, provide for everything that our most vulnerable communities need so desperately. Immigrants built this city and are making it run today. The recent historic hotel strike by HERE raised wages throughout the hotel industry
General,
for everyone. Was that both minutes or just the one?
General, we're going to start your minute now. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, as we see, the immigrants are in the forefront, not of doing the work in this city, but also fighting for their rights and everybody else's rights. And that protection really needs to happen. The protection also needs to extend to protect those of us who are protesting the draconian things that the Trump administration is going to throw at us. And this time, please protect us from the right-wing thugs and stop arresting and harassing and jailing and criminalizing the protesters on the right side of history. We also, I had some concern about one of those amendments that came by, the one that mentioned giving federal court orders the right to override this ordinance. We need to override those federal court orders. Many of them coming from this upcoming administration are going to be going in the wrong direction. So you might want to remove that from the amendment. Thank you.
I'm a staff attorney at the Center for Immigration Law and Policy at UCLA School of Law. It's pivotal that Los Angeles enact a robust sanctuary ordinance to protect its more than 1.41 million immigrant residents, among who are undocumented UCLA students who I have had the immense privilege of working with on a campaign to secure equal employment opportunities on campus. The sanctuary ordinance will protect these students, along with all Angelenos, from the anti-immigrant threats of the incoming Trump administration. The Los Angeles Sanctuary Ordinance can work as a safeguard by enshrining the city's Special Order 40 and Executive Directive 20 policies into law and aligning with the already existing Los Angeles County and state prohibitions on using local resources for immigration enforcement. To do so, the ordinance needs to include the following 3 assurances. First, a definition of immigration enforcement that matches state law. Second, the requirement of a judicial warrant
General public comment?
the requirement of a judicial warrant for immigration and agents to enter city-owned property, just as the county has. And third, a provision that treats Angelenos' identifying data as confidential and prohibits its dissemination for purposes of immigration enforcement. A robust sanctuary ordinance can help protect this city's immigrants, among them undocumented students, in the difficult years ahead.
Hello, good morning. My name is Katia Garcia, and I'm the Youth Programs Manager with the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, also known as CHIRLA. In this role, I also have the privilege of overseeing the first 4 Dream Resource Centers at 4 LAUSD high schools. Actually, some of the council members here represent these schools, including Bernstein High School, Ben Ice High School, Belmont High School, and Monroe High School. Today, I come representing the newcomer students that I get to serve at these schools. They are afraid and uncertain about their futures. I want to be able to tell them that the council members of our city are doing everything they can to protect them. So far, you guys haven't done it. You have the power to pass the Sanctuary City Ordinance. Please vote yes in making this city safe for all undocumented students and their families. Thank you.
Soy residente del Condado de Los Ángeles. El día de hoy estoy aquí para apoyar la ordenanza de Ciudad Santuario. Yo estoy apoyando esta ordenanza porque queremos que nuestros hijos vayan seguro a las escuelas.
Permítame. I am a resident of Lane County and I'm here to support the ordinance law.
A los trabajos y que todos tengamos seguridad aquí porque no queremos que ICE trabaje con la policía y queremos un lugar santuario. Gracias.
I want that our children go to schools and we can go to work in safety, and we do not want ICE to enforce those immigration laws. Thank you.
My name is Martha Marion, and I believe we are in a moment of moral clarity that must come with unified action. We must act to stand in solidarity to protect our friends, family, neighbors, and community members who are under threat. I am also a therapist, and I have many colleagues who work in schools who are already seeing a huge uptick in students coming to see them with all kinds of somatic symptoms, crying, afraid, and asking, are my family members going to be taken away? They are already suffering trauma from the threat of mass deportation, and they have real reason to worry. The traumas they face moving forward will be in part on us if we do not act. I think of the 1940s and the thousands of Angelenos of Japanese descent who were rounded up from this city and sent to camps. For God's sake, let's not be a party to doing it again. Our greatest strength is that we are an entire world in a city. And if all of us don't belong here, then none of us belongs here. And there's a decent indigenous argument for that. But for now, our time to unite as a city and show up for what's right is now, and your votes today will be a historical record that mark what you stood for when asked to act. May God bless you all. Amen. Aho.
Wanted to speak in favor of item 52, having Sanctuary City. Actually, I have been involved with some of the discussions with the city since 2017, and I think it's about time. And as I am on the board of the West LA Democratic Club, and I think that it's really the right thing to do. And as a practicing Catholic, I think that we need to ensure that everybody is safe, and so this is, I completely support it. Thank you.
Today I come as a constituent of CD8, and more importantly, as a son of undocumented immigrants who live here in South Central LA, who have dedicated their entire lives here to bolster and nurture the beautiful city of Los Angeles. Today, for the 4.4 million immigrants here in LA County, 2.2 million of which are in subject fear of deportation, it's vital to pass and codify a robust sanctuary policy that protects all Angelenos. It's time for the City of LA to reassert its leadership on immigrant rights and to defend communities against mass deportations. The city must ensure that its resources, property, and personnel are not being utilized for federal immigration enforcement. The city should not succumb to the same hateful rhetoric of immigrants that they're going to see throughout these coming weeks and years. LA must no longer contribute to support the separation of families. I vote on all of you to vote yes on the sanctuary ordinance. Thank you.
Soy janitor y miembro de SEIU USWW. Soy residente del centro de Los Ángeles y limpio el edificio de US Bank aquí en el centro.
Yes, I work as a janitor, member of SEIU and USWW. I am a resident of Central Los Angeles, and I clean and work at the bank of US Bank.
He vivido muchos años en este país y he visto cómo las comunidades migrantes son un pensamiento secundario para muchos. Estoy aquí el día de hoy para exigir que pasen la ordenanza santuario.
Yes, and I have lived here in Los Angeles for many years, and I have seen through the years how immigrant communities are a second thought for many people. That is why I am here asking for your support in the ordinance.
La ciudad de Los Ángeles no debe de participar en ninguna colaboración con agentes de migración o con el gobierno federal.
And
Sí.
the city of Los Angeles should not participate with any immigration enforcement agencies.
Si la intención es buscar a personas inmigrantes para poder deportarlos.
If the intention is to look for immigrant people to deport them.
Todos recordamos los 4 años horribles que vivimos bajo la primera administración de Donald Trump.
And we all remember the 4 disastrous years that we lived under the Trump administration.
Es el deber de este Consejo Municipal proteger a las personas de esta ciudad.
And it is the duty of this city council to protect
General
the people
public
of the city. Comentario público general.
El deber de cada uno de ustedes es apoyar el movimiento santuario y pasar la ordenanza que hemos estado esperando por tanto tiempo.
And it is your duty to support this ordinance and to sign it, to approve it, to protect our rights.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Mira, estoy aquí en esta reunión el día de hoy
I am here in this meeting today
porque necesito
because
exponer mi preocupación por mi comunidad y por mí y mi familia.
I need to express my worry for myself, my community, and my family.
Un nuevo cambio de un presidente que no es seguro para nosotros,
With the change of this new president who does not bring any security for any of us
me hace sentir insegura.
and makes me feel unsafe.
Pero es mi deber trabajar el día a día
And it is my duty to work daily
y luchar, abogar por mi comunidad.
and fight for and represent my community.
Pero estoy confiando en que tengo a los concejales
And I am trusting that I have the city council members
y a una alcaldesa
and
que
a mayor,
vela por nosotros.
and a mayor that supports us.
Es por eso que estoy pidiendo que se apruebe en Los Ángeles, California,
And that is why I am asking for this to be approved in Los Angeles, California,
la ordenanza de Ciudad Santuario.
the Sanctuary City Ordinance.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you all.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking, also known as CAST. As one of the nation's oldest and largest service providers for survivors of human trafficking, we see firsthand how collaboration with immigration enforcement undermines public safety and trust. Many of the survivors we serve are undocumented or have mixed status families, making the threat of deportation, or detention a weapon traffickers can use to silence and control them. Instead of protecting our communities, partnerships and information sharing with immigration enforcement perpetuate harm, particularly among immigrant and marginalized populations who are already vulnerable to trafficking. By limiting cooperation and preventing city resources from being used for immigration enforcement, this ordinance ensures that Los Angeles is a place where survivors feel safe to come forward, to seek justice, and to rebuild their lives. CAST encourages the passage of the
General public
sanctuary
comment?
motion as it is a vital step toward creating a city that protects human rights, values dignity, and refuses to be complicit in perpetuating exploitation. Thank you.
Bueno, yo creo que estamos aquí pidiéndoles que la ciudad de Los Ángeles sea un ciudad santuario. ¿Por qué? Porque
We are
queremos,
here to ask for you guys to make the city of Los Angeles a sanctuary city. And why?
porque queremos de la ciudad de Los Ángeles una seguridad, que podamos trabajar con seguridad,
Because we want Los Angeles to be a safe city where we can work with security.
porque todos los que estamos aquí pedimos seguridad. Estamos marchando pidiéndoles con educación que se firme esta oportunidad que tenemos de ciudad santuario. Y yo sé que todos
Because
ustedes lo pueden lograr.
We are all here asking for you guys to support our right to have safety. We are asking you guys to, with respect and with good manners, to please sign this ordinance.
Todos nosotros creemos que el muro que está entre la frontera de Estados Unidos y la Ciudad de México es una falta de respeto para todo el ser humano que existe aquí en Los Ángeles.
Because all of us here in this room believe that the wall that exists in the border between Mexico and the United States is very disrespectful for the immigrants and the citizens of the United States.
¿Por qué tenemos la Estatua de la Libertad en Nueva York? Porque todas las ciudades queremos libertad, ¿o no es cierto?
Why do we have the Statue of Liberty in New York? Because we all here believe in liberty and freedom.
Sí, gracias por escucharme y yo les digo y les juro que con la ayuda de ustedes y la ayuda de todos nosotros vamos a lograr la ciudad santuario en Los Ángeles.
And thank you for listening, and I promise with you guys' efforts and with us united, we will guarantee this to be a sanctuary city, the city of Los Angeles.
Y ahora podemos decir, sí se puede, pero vamos a regresar y vamos a decir, sí se pudo.
And now we say, yes, we can, but we will come back and we will be able to say, yes, we could.
Sí, y de ustedes depende.
And it
De
depends on you
ustedes
guys.
depende su firma y su mente para que todos pensemos qué es lo que quiere la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Muchas gracias.
And it depends on you guys' signature to do right for the people of Los Angeles.
No city resources should be used in collaboration with ICE. LA is a city of immigrants, and the city should not give in to pressure from the federal government to help carry out its immoral and racist deportation policy. Instead, the city should be doing everything in its power to protect immigrant Angelenos. That is why I'm urging you all to pass this sanctuary ordinance. Once passed, LA can be a true sanctuary, and immigrant families and community members can rest assured knowing that their city has their back. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Siti Ben, and I am here to speak on item number 52, the sanctuary ordinance. And I am a faith-rooted organizer with Clue Justice, and I am an ordained minister with International Mission Center USA. And I'm here to speak in support of the sanctuary ordinance. Me, my family, we are directly impacted by all this. We're immigrants coming from Cambodia, and at the same time, we are here to support immigrants, not just those of the Cambodian and Asian descent, but of all descent. In fact, as my job as a faith-rooted organizer with Clue Justice, we are part of the LA Welcomes Collective, where we provide support and services for those coming to Los Angeles. One of the things that we do is to end homelessness and the threat of homelessness that those are facing over here. And we want to continue this type of work, and passing the sanctuary ordinance will assist that. It will not separate families, and we want to prevent that. We want to prevent the new administration coming and threatening mass deportation. And one of the ways to protect families and the immigrant community is by passing the sanctuary ordinance. And want to thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you.
My name is Lisa Edwards. I'm a rabbi living in Los Angeles. I'm here as a volunteer with CLU, CLU Justice, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. And my wife, who is here with me, Tracy Moore, and I have been residents in Los Angeles for over 3 decades. And we've been Jewish community leaders in that time, and we have seen close up in homes, schools, shops, restaurants, healthcare, government, houses of worship, everywhere, how immigrants and their children help Los Angeles be the thriving, diverse, intriguing, marvelous place that it is. Please vote for the sanctuary ordinance to keep Angelino families together, protect our immigrant community members, and keep LA a place that people from all over the world admire, visit, and often choose to call home. Please, city leaders, can we lock arms, as Mayor Bass likes to say, and protect our precious residents, one and all?
Okay, good morning. My name is June Hibino, and I am on the coordinating committee of Nikkei Progressives, a grassroots, multi-generational organization based in Little Tokyo. I'm here today to call on the City Council to vote yes on the sanctuary ordinance. Since 2017, Nikkei Progressives has been supporting immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. We've collected funds, clothing, and supplies, and have advocated for just immigration policies. We do all this because we uphold the human right of all people to seek safety for themselves and their families, and to escape poverty by working hard to provide for their families. And as Japanese Americans, we know from our past what anti-immigrant hate and racist scapegoating look like. Our Japanese and API communities were also subjected to family separation, mass detention, and outright anti-Chinese and anti-Japanese exclusion laws. Our API communities are now still being impacted by immigration policies. With Trump's election, we can only expect the same type of racist and inhumane policies to be implemented. The City of LA must take a stand and make the city a true sanctuary city. It must say no city resources, property, or personnel should be used for immigration enforcement. It cannot be a part of separating thousands of Angelino families. LA can and must be a leader in defending immigrant communities. I urge you to pass the sanctuary ordinance. Please affirm the city's commitment to protecting and defending immigrants and upholding the basic humanity and dignity of all people. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Buenos dias, Calamera. And I can keep going, but there's about 200 languages spoken in Los Angeles. So I'm going to get right to it. My main concern is how many people can we accept in Los Angeles? I'm sure there's millions of people that want to come to Los Angeles, and we can't be a sanctuary city for everybody. So before you vote, I'd really like you guys to take a good look at the cost. How many people can come to this city? How much water will they use? And all kind of other considerations. It just can't be unlimited. So that's my concern about this ordinance. A wise man once said, before you can save the world, make up your bed. And we have people in this city that don't have beds, American citizens that are homeless. And I feel we really need to put American citizens first. You were all elected by American citizens. Let's make that the focus, and then if we can help other people, that's fine. But let's not forget our American citizens.
General public comment?
Thank you very much.
Sir, which name did you sign up under?
Me?
Yes, you?
All items are non-agenda.
Which name did you
Mr.
sign
Herman,
up
you know how
under?
this works. You're stalling. Please start his time. All items and non-general public comment. Kevin De Leon, thank you for being here. I'd like to remind the world about alcohol. Alcohol is good for you. It drains out the problems that we all have in society, right? We all have problems, immigration problems, social problems, rent problems, but apparently off of Culver Boulevard, the offsite off Honora Market, we're going to provide all of you with the best type of alcohol in the world, the kind that gets you fucked up. And then you can't think, you can't do your job, you are labeled terrorist because you behave in a manner that's not appropriate under the consumption of alcohol, like Jose Luis Huizar did to you. Now, if I were wrong...
Next item. You already passed a minute. Go ahead.
Fine, I'll go to the next item. There's a lot of items there. As a matter of fact, item 2, fuck item 2, fuck item 4, fuck item 12, fuck item 31, fuck item 36, fuck item 40, fuck 42, 2, 43, fuck, no, not 45, because that's about Trump. Now let me go into item 52 for the record. You know, a sanctuary city was a perfect dream, but you have lawyers and scumbag lawyers, scumbag politicians, and dirty nigger politicians that have lied to you. They told you that they were working on your behalf as immigrants. No, they were using you. The same way they used my families, my generations of Native Americans to flood us with alcohol and drugs and to fuck with our minds, to alter the way you think. Do you really believe that item 52 is important to them? No. It will never be important to a politician because a politician's dream is to be like Satan. Lie, lie, and lie to the public. That's why
Address the council
you're,
directly, sir.
You've exhausted your 1 minute on item 52,
Okay,
and this
so I
is your
got
opportunity to address this body, not members of the audience.
So what are you saying?
So I'm saying address the body, not members
Yeah,
of the
but I
audience.
got 3 minutes of my non-agenda public comment, bro.
Continue.
I shall. After all, I'm here as Batman.
Well, this is not on the agenda. Would you like to move to general public comment?
That's right.
General public comment. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
So Batman wants you to remember the law. The law is about justice, and Batman represents justice and fights the injustice of society.
So I'm going to ask that the audience, the fastest way to get through this is if everybody just
Now, Gro,
keeps quiet and gives them his time. Go
you
ahead.
continue to allow them to stomp on me because I believe in Trump. And Trump will regulate. Trump
So again,
will
members of the
regulate
public, I'm
our
going to ask
society.
the fastest way to get through
Trump
this is
will
to just let
regulate
him
our
say his piece.
society and make things better. We will build. We will have jobs.
people,
we will live to be the best we are ever to be in America. But we can't do it if we have a rambunctious piece of shit that we got rid of for governor to be, other than that dumb bitch from San Francisco.
All right, your time's up.
has expired.
Time's up. Next,
Mr. Herman,
next speaker.
this is
Sit
your
down,
first
Mr.
and
Herman.
only
Your
warning.
time is up.
Move on so we can move on to the next public speaker. I would remind you that you are on probation as well, so please do not disrupt this meeting. For everybody who's new here, or even if you're returning, welcome to the show. This gentleman gives his public comment at basically every single meeting. Again, this is an opportunity for people to express their viewpoints from all different perspectives. The fastest way to get through public comment and to maximize all of your public comment is to just remain quiet during the actual public comment portion.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Chief Manolito, you AK Candido Maris, I would like item 52 and I would like public comment, sir.
So you have 1 minute for the item and 1 minute for
I
general
have to
public
hide
comment.
under my Native American name. Item 52. You know, I'm going to ask one of the best people to ever serve this city, Chief McDonald, to serve the people of this city, to serve the immigrants, that when that traitor, when that crook, when that criminal Trump sends his army into this city, I hope that Mr. Jim McDonald will do everything to protect the immigrants of this city. They are the fuel of this city. This is the greatest city in the country. They are the greatest. We are the greatest. And why? Because immigrants have always come to this city and made this city great. But I would ask, there was a Hispanic lady that just spoke a little while ago. Her speech was magnificent. I would ask you to empower yourself by learning English, just as I will learn to speak Spanish. I apologize that I can't speak to you in Spanish, but I would ask that you empower yourself, because when you empower yourself with English, you don't have to ask anybody else to speak for you.
Just like the
Mr.
previous
DeLeon,
speaker,
I'm proud of you, sir. Thank you for the service that you gave this city. And Mr. McCosker, I want to thank you for being, I call you a man of integrity, because as you see here, we're looking for people of integrity, and you, sir, and these other people might get mad, but I don't care. You have integrity, and I thank you for that. And Mr. DeLeon, God bless you, brother.
Today, we stand in the ancestral village of Yagna under the stewardship of the Tongva people, in solidarity with the shared struggles of displacement, violence, and criminalization. Hoy estamos parados en el pueblo de Yagna bajo el cuidado del pueblo Tongva en solidaridad con los pueblos y una historia de violencia y criminalización. I am here to remind you of the enormous debt that you have to all of us in this room and to our families and communities outside of these walls. Estoy aquí para recordarles que la deuda que ustedes tienen a nosotros en este cuarto y nuestras familias fuera de esta cámara. Aprueben la ordenancia de santuario, paguen lo que deben. Approve the sanctuary ordinance and pay your debt.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Jesus Carrion. I am a current student at Harvard Law School, a visiting scholar at the UCLA School of Law, and a graduate of USC. I stand before you today not only as a law student, but as someone who has lived through the struggles many immigrants in our community face every single day. As a DACA recipient and a lifelong dreamer, I grew up in the shadows, constantly fearing separation from my loved ones and of being sent back to a place we had fought so far to escape. My life has been marked by constant uncertainty, but I persevered because I believed in the promise of a better life, though that promise always seemed just out of reach. Then came DACA. It gave me a fighting chance, a chance to live without the constant fear of deportation, a chance to work, and a chance to build a future for myself. DACA brought me hope and the opportunity to chase my dreams. But too many of my friends, family, and neighbors still live in that same uncertainty, facing each day with the fear that it might be their last in this country. They continue to live under the shadow of deportation, unable to fully embrace the opportunities this country has to offer.
General public comment?
That is why I am asking the City Council to help give us that same fighting chance. By passing this ordinance and making the city a sanctuary for immigrants, you will send a message to every immigrant in the city that we are not alone, that we are valued, that we are worthy of the same protections and opportunities as any other member of the community. This ordinance would offer hope, the hope that one day immigration policies may change, allowing us to emerge from the shadows to continue to contribute to LA's vibrant community in meaningful ways. Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Bruno Huizar, and I'm with the California Immigrant Policy Center. We are one of nearly 100 organizations who have sent a letter to you all as a council to protect immigrant families and communities by passing the Sanctuary Ordinance. I grew up in Los Angeles, in District 6, and as a teenager in 2008, one of my parents was arrested and detained by ICE. My father was separated from our family, his freedom and liberties taken away while incarcerated in ICE detention, and deported to Mexico, a place my parent had not been to since he was a child. Immigrants are an integral part of our communities and an essential part of the city of Los Angeles since our city's inception. 1.3 million people reside in the city of Los Angeles, 34% of our population. It is time for the city of Los Angeles to pass a permanent policy to ensure that our city resources, property, and personnel are not being utilized for any immigration enforcement. LA should be a city where people can feel safe from immigration enforcement. Immigrant Angelenos should feel safe when applying for city services and not worry that our personal and private information can be gathered and shared with immigration enforcement authorities to target us and our families. President-elect Trump has threatened mass deportations, arrests, and even internment camps. LA must be a leader in defending immigrant families and community. LA must no longer contribute to or enable the deportation and separation of our families. I call on you to vote yes on the sanctuary motion. A robust sanctuary policy is critical to keeping all of our families together, safe, and secure.
Hello, my name is Harriet Elliott, District 10.
Good afternoon. And
I
which
didn't
items?
think I would agree with Herman.
Speaker, which items would you like to speak
Two.
to? Good afternoon.
2.
Item 2?
Item 2, and then general public comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute for item 2 and 1 minute for general public comment. Please begin
I
with the
didn't
item.
think
Go
I'd
ahead.
agree with Herman on anything, but I agree with him completely about alcohol. And I'm seeing lots and lots of, thank you. I'm seeing lots and lots of soliciting for alcohol licenses in the rest of the agenda. And I don't think LA needs it, okay? In my own neighborhood, there's a construction site been going on 3 years, and they solicited our opinion about selling liquor in a nightclub type environment. I told people my opinion. I didn't want to speak for my neighbors, but I said, you don't need to. We don't need it in this neighborhood. We're quiet. Okay. Anyway, I'm going on to my thing about directed energy. This is a new book, 2022. Her name is Patricia Cornwall. I'll bring she actually does things about directed energy, and they're out of sight.
So general public comment?
Yeah, okay. J.R. Gillum de Texas es un líder, I'll translate myself, es un líder de SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Él tiene clientes de prisioneros. Antes de cometer un delito, ellos oyeron voces diciéndole, mátalo, róbalo. This is CIA, by the way. Okay, I'm going to explain it in a minute. Gillum, Señor Gillum, creyeron que dijeron la verdad, okay? Anyway, he has these as clients. They're never going to get out of jail. None of these people are getting out of jail, no matter what the CIA said to them. Anyway, I have voice to skull, which means the CIA interference with my hearing. Gloria Naylor, a college professor, wrote her book, 1996. I hope you'll read it. And I hope you'll read Livid. It's a very good book.
Speaker, your time has expired. Next speaker. Good afternoon. If you could please remind us of the name you signed up under and the items you'd like to speak to.
Shekinah Diocaris and general public comment in item 52.
So you have 1 minute for the item and 1 minute for general. Please begin with the item. Go ahead.
Hi, council members. My name is Shekinah Diocaris. I am the lead organizer at Filipino Worker Center. I was born and raised in CD6, and I am the daughter of some of the most amazing Filipino immigrants you will ever meet, but there are so many in LA City and beyond, and I am here to support the Sanctuary LA Ordinance. Since the election, we have had over 3,600 people call our organization in fear. These are mothers, children, fathers who are afraid to go to work. They are afraid to go to school. They are afraid to live in the city that they made and only exist because of them and because of their work. They are afraid to file wage theft complaints. They are afraid to complain against their landlords that are harassing them. They are afraid to access the resources that you all hear, even if you are not looking me or anyone else that has been speaking in the eye, the resources you all fought for.
General public comment.
And so what we're asking you to do today is to serve your constituents, to serve the workers, the caregivers that our immigrant community makes up, the people who literally put food on our table. Each one of you were voted into office on the basis that you would protect us and listen to us. So now is the moment to show whether or not you'll step up and do that. I am asking each one of you to defund LA's collusion with ICE, to invest in our immigrant community in the same way they invest in us, and to pass the LA Sanctuary Ordinance now. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm a constituent of City District 14, and I've been so for the last 25 years. I'm a second-generation Mexican-American and a graduate student worker for the University of California. My grandmother was an immigrant. My classmates were immigrant growing up, and many of my colleagues in the University of California are immigrants. When Tom Homan, so-called border czar nominated by Donald Trump, was asked about the violence of Trump's deportation agenda, he said, "Deport families together." How dare Trump's administration use our city resources and our people's money for his deportation agenda when one of his billionaire supporters buys votes for $1 million apiece? Angelenos will not stand for this kind of violence in our community. We demand that you support the Sanctuary City Ordinance to protect our neighbors and families in Los Angeles. Thank you.
My name is Tanya Borja Valdovinos. I'm an organizer with Scope LA. I am a South Central State native. I come from a mixed family status with the most amazing immigrant parents. I am here to urge you that the City of Los Angeles must pass the ordinance of sanctuary to ensure that no city resources, property, or personnel are used for immigration enforcement. All Angelenos should feel safe accessing much-needed services without fear of their information being shared to federal authorities. Los Angeles needs to be a city where folks feel safe, where our undocumented neighbors make over 34% of the population. We are hardworking people and deserve to feel safe. I call on you, City Council, to vote yes on the sanctuary ordinance. By doing so, you will affirm the city's commitment to our communities, defending, protecting our communities, my neighbors, my friends, and my family. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Maya. I'm an attorney who has worked with undocumented immigrants and with deported veterans, and I urge you to make Los Angeles a sanctuary city to prohibit the use of city resources for immigration enforcement, so that no city resources fund the unimaginable cruelty of deporting our community members, friends, and family who do so much for this city. Thank you.
General public comment. Look, 52 is great for the city of LA. It is a sanctuary area. Ladies that came out from the black area that are victims, we just lost a bus driver to violence. I hear you guys. It is a city of Los Angeles, not just District 6 I care about. We need something to protect the people that come out, not just stand by. We didn't use our resources and just stood by and let them do their jobs. We need something to protect them. Like Bruno and Mr. Nunez said, back when the deportation in 73 and in 2008, they deported their parents, their family. We're third, fourth generation here. We shouldn't be fearful of deportation. But the idea of separating anybody from their family is crazy. It's bad enough when it happens during a crime, incarceration. But again, there's a lot of people, I'm reading Smoking Scans comments. They are for this deportation thing. I can't,
Caller,
everyone has their own voice.
Next caller. What I put before you today, along with Mr. McCosker, and after long discussions with the makers of the motion, is a narrow set of sentences that closes a loophole that I believe leaves the city vulnerable. And that is in the case where an LAPD officer has contact with a person who has a prior conviction for a violent felony, was deported, and it can be confirmed that they were deported, and they are back in the United States. What we had proposed wouldn't allow LAPD to take some time to look at that person and to communicate with ICE in this case. What this amendment does is allow our officers to do that, which is the current policy for the city of LA. And according to LAPD records, that's been invoked 2 times since 2018. So it is not something that is a regular practice. In fact, it's very irregular. It should stay that way, frankly, but we want to make sure that we have all the tools we need to do, that we need in order to carry out the work of the city. And so with that, I ask all my colleagues for an aye vote.
Council President, you know, there was a lot of back and forth around this discussion. I think that we have what was presented here is something that will be good for the city. And I know that if it's not good for the city, there's always an ability to come back and readdress it. So today I will be registering a yes vote on this very specific issue that you just stated. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other members on the queue, let's open the roll on the amending motion. Close the roll. Tally the votes.
13 ayes.
Great, thank you. So that has been adopted. So
Thank you so much for allowing me an opportunity to speak on this. And thank you to everyone here in the audience who came out in support of this critically important piece of legislation. After 18 months, I believe, almost, since we put forward this motion, my colleagues, Councilmember Hernandez and Councilmember Soto Martinez and I introduced this. We have a draft of an ordinance before us, and I think the timing couldn't be more important. We began this process over a year ago knowing that we can't predict the future, and that Angelenos deserve to be protected no matter who is in power at the local level and at the federal government. While this body had previously passed a resolution declaring Los Angeles a city of sanctuary in 2017, those policies were not codified into municipal law. Our current relationship with federal immigration agencies is shaped by internal LAPD policies, some of which have been there for decades, and an executive directive issued by former Mayor Eric Garcetti. And these policies have been good and important to ensure that Angelenos feel safe here calling on the city for support and calling on city resources to meet their needs. But it does mean that at the flip of a switch or the change of an administration, these policies can be rescinded. Evidence has shown, studies have shown over and over again that when there are heightened fears around immigration enforcement, immigrant communities are more reluctant to call on the city for help, to ask our city for resources, even in cases of domestic violence and other emergencies, even in cases of urgent need. We must be a city that ensures that Angelenos are able to lean on it for help. And this new ordinance would codify this approach and give it the force of law. And I want to thank you all for your support in passing this unanimously last year, and I hope that we can do the same today at a very changed moment in our country's history. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today I rise to voice my strong support, along with you, for this ordinance. As a representative of one of the largest migrant communities in the city, ensuring the safety and well-being of my constituents is a top priority. Given the re-election of Donald Trump and the consistent hate speech towards undocumented people and mixed-status families, I can't think of a more pressing issue than this one today. Sanctuary cities are not just a legal framework, but they represent a moral commitment to upholding human dignity, protecting families, and ensuring that everyone, regardless of their immigrating status, can live without fear. Establishing this ordinance will allow us to ensure that crimes do not go unreported from fear of deportation. It will permit us to build trust between mixed status families and law enforcement, and it will help keep communities intact. Now is the time to make our message loud and clear. Trump has had his say, but now it's our turn to respond with decisive action and full force of law on our side. The City of Angels must live up to its name. We must be angels to our undocumented neighbors, guaranteeing that they can live with stability and without the constant threat of deportation. By fostering opportunity and inclusion, we empower all of our neighbors to contribute fully to the strength and success of our communities for generations to come. Colleagues, I urge an aye vote on this ordinance. Thank you.
You know, colleagues, I'm really glad we're doing this. I think this is a step
in the right direction to protect our migrant, immigrant, undocumented community. But I would also be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say a few things that are on my mind. Since November 5th, 2024, I have been called very often by different stakeholders asking me what happened to the Latino community and why did they shift over to voting red. And the only answer that I can really think about is my own actions from 2020, when I vividly remember talking to leaders in the California Democratic Party, and I told them, you are at risk of losing the Latino voters if you do not start to utilize your own power to begin conversations to elevate to the national level the interests in the Democratic Party caring about true immigration reform. And all of that fell on deaf ears. So instead, what you're starting to see is that people went with the party that at minimum is willing to start to talk about it. Maybe not in their best interest, but they were willing to at least talk about it. So today, to all of the future federal leaders that are going to take over very soon, I tell them this, that with this action today, what the LA City Council is trying to say is that we're not gonna allow for the actions that once upon a time took place in 1954, where with Operation, I don't choose to use a second word, or what happened in the 1970s when they did massive deportations and broke families. Los Angeles is not gonna let that happen. But instead, what I hope this starts is a conversation to potentially get what we got back in 1986 under a Republican administration, where we actually had something related to true immigration reform with the Immigration Reform and Control Act under President Ronald Reagan. I hope that what this does really does stem a new conversation about the future of immigration reform, because in Los Angeles, what we want to do is protect and make sure that our communities are not broken apart. So I will also be a yes vote today.
I just want to reiterate to the people of Los Angeles who are listening, those of you who are around, as Ms. Rodriguez alluded to, when this happened the first time, it was very different for this city. I talked about last week that in South LA, a block away from Normandy Avenue Elementary School, ICE trucks parked with people just waiting to watch families go to school and decide which ones they should question or stop. You saw people in the parking lots, ICE agents in the parking lots of grocery stores, knowing full well the people most dependent on supermarkets are people with small children. And they just wait and talk to people. And this time, the proposal is that plus the United States military. And there's no reason to believe, if we know anything about the person who just won the election, we know that their bark is their bark and their bark matches their bite. This puts at our doorstep a situation that can interrupt the peace that we have, the productivity that we have, and this place where, with all of our problems and shortcomings, people have, one, decided to live, and two, people can raise their family. The other big dynamic that we have to prepare for, in addition to what we've done today, and I agree there's much more work today to do, people don't call the police and report crime. People don't call the police, especially, and report domestic violence related crimes. And sometimes, and this happened in my district, a house catches on fire and no one calls the fire department because nobody wants to invite the government in and risk deportation because you're trying to put a fire out. And so we have a big job ahead of us. This gives us the foundation and gives direction to our city departments to do, frankly, what they've been doing for decades and generations, but codifies that and puts us in a position to scaffold and build upon that to maintain Los Angeles as the kind of place where we can all live in peace, we can continue our productivity, and where we can lead the nation as a city of immigrants.
I also want to add a little historical context because it's important for the public to understand a little bit of that as well, and what we're not doing. Because I know that, you know, the phrase sanctuary city has become the subject of the most immense demagoguery around this country by, folks on the left and the right, frankly. And so I want to make sure we understand, what the city's history on this has been. Some folks in the public even described how embarrassing it is that the city hasn't taken action on this earlier. Well, 45 years ago, Police Chief Daryl Gates, not seen as a friend to communities of color or vulnerable communities in this city, Daryl Gates established Special Order 40. So when Fox News says that we're doing something wild and crazy here, let's remember that 45 years ago, this city enacted Special Order 40. And Special Order 40 has stood without change through 10 chiefs of police and 7 presidents of the United States of both parties. Why? Because it is essential to public safety. First of all, because it's essential to ensure that our immigrant communities don't have to live in fear that the Los Angeles Police Department is going to be going and enforcing immigration laws, but also so that we can ensure that our immigrant communities know that they can come forward to the Los Angeles Police Department and be witnesses to crime and report crimes and not be in fear that if they do the right thing, that they or their relatives will face deportation. That's why Special Order 40 mattered 45 years ago and still matters today. Since 2014, for the last 10 years, it has been the policy of the Los Angeles Police Department not to honor any ICE request to hold an individual otherwise eligible for release from custody absent a judicial determination of probable cause for that detainer or a valid warrant from a judicial officer. For the same reasons, because we want to make sure that our communities, our residents know that we are not going to be a party to expediting their deportation or to enforcing the federal immigration laws. Because the Los Angeles Police Department does not have the resources to do that, it's not our job, and it's not consistent with the values of our city or our city council or the Los Angeles Police Department to do that. The LAPD has never participated and will not participate in the voluntary program established under federal law to allow LAPD to enforce immigration laws. We have never done that, and we are not going to do that. And then in March of 2017, under Mayor Garcetti, of course, there was the executive directive, his executive directive number 20, to even broaden and make clear that Los Angeles will not be a party to ICE efforts here to enforce federal immigration laws, where the primary purpose is federal civil immigration enforcement. No employee of the city would assist or cooperate with or allow any city monies or resources to be used to assist or cooperate with those sorts of federal actions. So this has been the practice and policy of this city in one way or the other for almost a half century, and it has worked. And so we need to, and the progress that we've made in improving this to make sure that our communities feel safe has also been beneficial, not only to those communities, but to all Angelenos, because it makes all of us safer. So I hope that the demagoguery that undoubtedly will begin at a national level as soon as we pass this ordinance will also be mindful of the fact that by enacting this ordinance, by the continuing practices that we've been engaged in the city for 45 years, we are actually keeping Angelenos safer. That has to be a part of the story of what we're doing. We're not only just keeping immigrant communities safer, we're keeping all of us safer by enacting this ordinance. So again, I want to thank my colleagues for their hard, difficult work in creating an ordinance that actually codifies all these great practices that we've been engaged in. And when the amendments come back to us, I will be proud to support this ordinance.
And I want to add my voice as well to the chorus of strong support for this measure. While we're not making any big policy change, as many of my colleagues have expressed, we have been doing this. We have been a pro-immigrant city for a number of years. We know that there is a target on our back from this president-elect, and what we are doing here is we are hardening our defenses. We are codifying our good policies on protecting immigrants. We are making that bold statement that we stand with our immigrant community, and we are hardening our defenses, and that's why I join all of my colleagues and thank my colleagues for raising this in strong support. Councilwoman Hernandez.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to move to add an amending motion, 52C, to request that the City Attorney's Office draft an urgency clause with this ordinance, please. Thank you.
Great.
And the final vote will be 52A as amended by 52B and 52C, sir.
Okay. I think all the members have spoken already, so let's open the roll, close the roll, and tally the votes.
13 ayes.
Yes, and we'll move this forthwith without objection. Ms. Hernandez, do you have something, or is that what you were going to request?
I just wanted to request that we move it forthwith.
Got it.
Thank you.
And Mr. Herman, you are standing up during speeches, blocking other people behind us, which you know is disruptive. Do not do that again. Do not stand up and block people. Even though you're wearing your Batman uniform, we know who you are, and don't do it.
And Mr. Chair, just for the record, Mr. Herman has been warned before, so that is his second warning. He is eligible for removal. And Mr. Herman, I would remind you that you are already on probation.
Okay.